in the world since 1988, legally, 24/7, you've got a problem. You can't use charts. You can't use waves and cycles and the Kondratiev theory and the Hindenburg, the gold-silver ratio. You can't use them because the market is so distorted.
Yeah, it is, exactly.
And so, you know, you say to yourself, what do I do to protect myself? You buy gold and silver coins and bullion and shares. And it's the only way that you can protect your assets. And if you don't do it, and you're not doing it, you're going to lose them.
That's true. What, the dollar, talk about the dollar. What is the dollar going down, and what do you project it's going to do a little bit later?
Well, about 6 months ago, the dollar ran on the USDX. Now, the USDX is an index, and it consists of 6 major currencies versus the dollar. Now, that index went down to 74, and sometime previous to that, it had an all-time low of 71.18. It took off from 74 and went to 89. It recently traded at 80. It's now trading around 82.5. It's had a little rally in here. The dollar is going down. When you have inflation and you have the government with quantitative easing, creation of money and credit, you are going to have the dollar go down. There's no other way. And so when the dollar goes down, people say, well, why would I hold dollars? Maybe I should hold something else. What is the other strong currency in the world? And for 6,000 years, it's been gold. And that's why gold is going up. The dollar is under pressure. And we have a few currencies that are doing decently, which are the Swiss franc, the Canadian dollar, and the Australian dollar. But other than that, the rest of them have got serious problems, just like the U.S. has. So how do you avoid that? You stay out of currencies as much as possible, and you buy what I told you to buy, gold and silver, bullion, coins, and shares.
Now, do you believe, during an act of martial law, like they did in the 30s and 40s, do you think that they're going to try to establish some type of, or already have established some type of executive order or some law that says any of those stop people from having that security?
Well, I got part of what you said, but I'll guess at the rest of it. Are we headed towards martial law? Was that a question?
Yeah. If we had towards martial law, will they eventually try to take the gold from us?
Right. A martial law wouldn't make gold and silver go higher because it would indicate that the social and political atmosphere in America was in dire straits. And that possibility exists. And the reason why is the public is finding out what's going on by listening to programs like yours and many others and via the internet, which is reaching everybody all over the world. And we know that because we get comments from people from everywhere, and we have lots of subscribers spread throughout the entire world. And so the people are finding out who is doing what to them, why they're doing it, and what the final outcome will be if they're allowed to continue to do what they're doing. These are the same people who have financed almost every war for the last 1,000 years or more. And so this is nothing new. This is why I get a real good handle on it, because I studied it for over 50 years, and I know history extraordinarily well. And so I back into what they're doing. That's how I was able to call the problem that we just saw that brought about the statement by the FOMC, which is the Federal Open Market Committee, which tells the Fed in Washington what to do. And we knew that was coming, and we predicted it. And quite frankly, nobody else did. But yes, we're going to have trouble, not only in America, but throughout the world. And in some cases, some countries, it won't be too bad. It'll all be bad, but not as bad elsewhere as it might be in the United States or Europe. But there's going to be serious problems among the people. Unemployment is terrible, and it's going to get worse. And the economy can't recover when you have 21.5% of the people unemployed.
Yeah.
And that's the real figure.
That is true. That is true. Talk to us about food. You said inflation earlier. You talked about inflation. Do you see the price of a loaf of bread going to a certain amount that's ridiculous?
Well, we're having fires in Russia, and we've had other untoward weather events. We've also had other things happen, which I won't go into a great deal of detail on, but I knew food prices were going to go higher, and I put that in the Forcaster. We have a lot of subscribers who are farmers who came to us last January and February and said, what do you think we should do? We get silos full of wheat. And I said, sit on them. It's going higher. And I was right. And so what's going to happen? Look, before you do anything with anything, if you're poor, you buy extra canned goods and rotate them. If you're a little bit better than poor, you buy dehydrated and freeze-dried foods so that you can eat when you lose your job or when there's martial law or chaos in the country. You have a water filter, which is very important, because you can go to a river and take out brackish water and drink it and use it. And then you have to have something to defend your family. These are prerequisites. These are things you have to have. And then if you have more money, and then you can go into gold and silver-related assets to keep the buying power of that money available to you.
Yeah, yes, indeed, yes, indeed. The soon to come, what they call it, October fiscal cycle, is also coming with an election. Do you think that the election making any difference, or is it just the same old thing? No change at all.
Well, many of the professionals in my journalistic profession say that there's no hope because they'll rig the elections. I can't countenance myself to say I'm going to give up because they might rig an election or many elections. And so my feeling is that, and I tell people over and over again, go out in November and kick every incumbent out of office, with minor exception. Get rid of them. They're all on the take. They're all being paid off by powers behind government, the banking industry, Wall Street, insurance, pharmaceuticals, and transnational conglomerates. They own you, they own our government, and they own our country. And we got to take it back from them. And the way you do it is get them out of office. And I want to promise you, if you don't do it, you're going to live on your knees, and so aren't your children, grandchildren, and great-grandchildren. They're going to become enslaved. Now, I don't have enough time in this program to tell you why, but that's what's going to happen.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure I'll cover that. It seems to me that we are converging on a constitutional trashing of the Constitution. Unconstitutional trashing of the Constitution. What do you suppose the president will do to once he gets in on to all of this act, all these things are supposed to be transpiring in the near future. You think he will write off the Constitution and join some type of a union because of, like, for instance, NAFTA? Or do you think he would just throw in the towel, admit a kamikaze, and let the next person fix it?
Well, I think what's going to happen is that the presidency doesn't make any decisions, and he doesn't even understand economics and finance in the smallest way. And most of the people in Congress don't either, because they don't even read the bills. I mean, that's how bad, the situation is. And it's not that they're dumb; they're just professional criminals. They're there to steal as much as they can get their hands on. And this is no different than what has existed for thousands of years among the political class. They're just financial whores. It's very simple. And so they're going to continue to do what they're doing. And that's why you got to get rid of them.
Yeah. Do you think NAFTA is a real entity, or I know NAFTA seems to be helping in outsourcing our jobs and our factories. Talk to me about the manufacturing base and why the people out there should know that comparison to 1929 and 1930, where they actually had some type of a manufacturing base, and they also had stations. Now, the people of today, we really don't have a manufacturing base. We don't manufacture anything. Talk to us about the importance of having a manufacturing base to come back from the edge.
Well, all the real wealth in America and every place else has always been made through manufacturing. And an effort was begun in the late 1950s to end America's supremacy in that category.
Yeah.
And they did that by bringing about GATT, the General Agreement on Trades and Tariffs. And that graduated into the WTO, which is called the World Trade Organization. And what that was all about is moving jobs out of the United States. We had to achieve the goal of becoming a third world nation. And I wrote an article for the American Mercury in 1967 about just that, and of course everybody thought I was nuts. And here today it was dead on. And now they're listening to some extent.
Yes,
no,
indeed.
We have lost 8 million jobs in the last 11 years to free trade, globalization, outsourcing, and offshoring.
Yeah.
And it's still going on in a major way, and it's not going to stop unless we have legislation stopping it to reintroduce tariffs. Yeah. And we've always had tariffs ever since 1780. 1800. And so that is the way to solve that problem. It is incredible, absolutely incredible, that America would stand by its politicians elected by their constituents who supposedly these people represent.